Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Yolanda Melody. So today's video is going to be about what to do if you struggle to get to sleep at night. This is going to be packed with practical tips that everybody can use. I can confidently say I think a lot of people will benefit from this video because a lot of us are stressed and stress causes lack of sleep. And if anybody knows the struggle of not getting to sleep at night, it's me. I am predominantly a night owl, so I've had to try out a lot of things. Anyway, let's just get onto it. So, I'm gonna start this video with one of the best things that I've tried lately, and that is valerian. I had never heard of this stuff before until it was recommended to me, and when I looked on the reviews on Amazon, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna try this out. So valerian is a naturally caffeine-free tea. The first night that I tried this, I kind of went a bit overboard. I ended up having about 3 or 4 cups, and then afterwards I read the back and it says, dosage for adults, 1 sachet 1 hour before retiring. Not recommended for children. Warning, can cause drowsiness. If affected, do not drive or operate machinery and avoid alcohol. Well, I say to avoid alcohol altogether all the time anyway, but that's for a whole nother video. This stuff is really strong. The reason I got this in the first place was because obviously I wanted to get to sleep, but also because I used to drink decaf tea. Now, I'm not going to go into details about it, but I did a bit of research about decaf and it's not as good as you think. It's not exactly the healthiest thing to drink. The process that they go through to create decaf versions of coffee and tea can actually be detrimental to your health, but I'll leave that for you guys to research, or if you want, I'll do a video about it. Oh yeah, also, I have to mention this, right? This tea, when you get it out of the package, it stinks. It's not the most pleasant of smells. It's a little bit like feet. Like stinky feet. Don't let that put you off though, because it doesn't taste bad. It tastes very similar to nettle tea, which is kind of tasteless, to be honest. I mean, I'm used to having herbal teas that don't really taste amazing, but if you can get used to it, this stuff is definitely worth a try, and I'll link it down below. Okay, next thing that I've tried as a replacement for decaf is cocoa. I love this stuff so much because it's a great source of magnesium, which, by the way, if you crave chocolate all the time, the reason for that craving is because of magnesium deficiency. I used to think it was like the worst thing in the world to get used to having like a hot chocolate every single night. I had a little bit of fear that it had caused me to gain weight or something. I'm just mentioning that in case anybody who's watching has a bit of anxiety about that. But cocoa is completely natural, and to be honest, it tastes better than hot chocolate. And the cocoa that I have doesn't have any sweetener or sugar or anything. And all I do is put a little spoon of honey in it and just whip it up. You want it to be half hot water and half milk, or I have soya milk, and that is another great alternative to decaf. So I usually start drinking cocoa in the evening from about 6 p.m. and I originally used to get it from Sainsbury's for like £6 for a tiny little bag, but then I found it on Amazon for £8.99 for a kilogram. To me, that's really good value for money, which is something that I really care about. So again, that will be linked down below. Okay, so that's the drink section. I feel like it was important to talk about this because what you put into your body has an enormous effect on how you feel and how your body functions. But now we're going to move over to the more practical things, such as your nighttime routine. And I'm sorry, we're gonna have a talk about technology, right? So a lot of people are aware that these devices that we have, you know, your iPad, your phone, these devices emit blue light. And what that does is it messes up with your melatonin production, which is why it's so common nowadays for people to not get to sleep properly. And even if you do get to sleep, it will affect your quality of sleep. However, I'm not from the Stone Age, and I'm not going to lie to you guys and say that I turn all my devices off at 9 p.m. That doesn't happen. So I've had to find alternatives, and I have found that there are little changes that you can make on the settings on your devices that obviously don't solve the problem, but it's my way of compromising. So if you haven't already checked out these settings on your phone, I'm just going to give you like a teeny tutorial to make sure that these settings are all on, and I'm going to do it for the iPhone, so sorry if you're an Android person, but... Okay, so if you go into your display and brightness, you can set your display on light or dark mode. So in the evening, everything is in dark mode. So that's limiting the amount of bright whiteness that's like going into your eyes. Double check to make sure that you've got night shift on. So night shift will switch your screen from like a bright white tone to like more of a warm yellow hue. And I usually have it on like the warmest. This is supposed to help reduce the level of blue light that's coming through the screen. I don't know how true that is, but I must say that I do notice a bit of a difference. And also I'd recommend to lower the brightness as much as possible on your device. And in general, I find that if I watch a series or something on my iPad, that'll help me to relax way more than if I'm constantly checking my phone and social media, my email. I know it's not the perfect solution. I know that a lot of people watching would say, just read a book, stay completely away from all electronic devices at night, but I'm just being real with you guys and telling you honestly what I do as a 21st century person. So the evening time for me is my time to completely switch off from everything. I pretty much just want to escape from reality. I spend all day long editing and thinking about things and thinking about the problems in the world, and there's a lot of them. So in the evening time, I make a promise to myself that anything that stresses me out, anything that requires me to think too much, anything that gets me wound up, which is basically stressing me out, is completely shut out at least 3 hours before I go to bed. So those 3 hours before I go to bed is my time, and it takes a lot of discipline to ensure that I don't slip up. I say this, but some nights I do end up staying up until 1 o'clock in the morning watching conspiracy videos. Conspiracy. AKA the truth. Anyway, and finally, when it comes to the time where I'm actually in bed and I'm about to try to get to sleep, what I find is I have to be intentional from the moment that I get into bed. I have to make sure that I don't slip into a spiral of overthinking. Because ultimately, all the tips that I gave at the beginning of the video, they're great, but the number one problem that stops people from getting to sleep is when they're actually in bed and they don't even realise it, but they start overthinking, and it usually spirals into worry or thinking about the past, thinking about jobs you need to do tomorrow, and then next thing you know, you've been in bed for like 3 hours, you're so uncomfortable, you've got too hot, you don't feel tired at all. You can tell that this has happened to me a lot. Yeah. So when you are actually in bed, you need to have a game plan. What you need to do is have some kind of mental exercise that's going to occupy your mind and slowly get it to simmer down naturally. And I have loads of techniques that I've spoke about in my video about meditation. So for the sake of saving my current subscribers from being bored to death, if you've already seen the meditation video, you'll know these techniques. But if you're a newcomer, the next video to watch is the meditation one. But before I end this video, I'm gonna tell you the technique that I've been using lately, and that is, as soon as I get into bed, I start thinking about all the things that I have and expressing gratitude. And yes, I've done a whole video about gratitude as well. Oh my god, this video is like just an endless plug of videos, but what I found is this technique is so good for calming my mind down. And when you're filling your head with positive things and you're listing all the things that you have and saying thank you that I'm in a warm house, thank you for the heating, thank you for my friends and family, thank you so much that I have a warm bed to sleep in. When you fill your mind with all of these positive things, negativity can't get in. I find it such a good practice to just raise your vibration right before you're going to sleep. And when I say raise your vibration, I mean not overexcite yourself, but it just gives you a warm, cozy, loving, good feeling. And that's the feeling that you want before you go to sleep. It's relaxation. And also another thing before I go. Right, sorry. I almost forgot this one. Right. If you have nightmares, this stuff is amazing. This is mugwort tea. Mugwort is a herb. It's similar to wormwood. And again, I got it from Amazon and I looked at the reviews, and I'm not kidding you. The amount of reviews that said had really great dreams, had the most lucid dreams that I've ever had after drinking this stuff. Now, for any people that don't really vibe with spirituality, I think if they saw these reviews, they'd be like, what? A tea that makes you have good dreams? How does that work? Well, these are the things that we just aren't told about. There's a lot of things that we're not taught about, and we have to find them for ourselves. But luckily, I've done a hell of a lot of research, and I want to share all of the information that I've learned with you guys, so I'm just pointing you in the right direction here. If you suffer from nightmares, and if that's a problem that you have that stops you from getting to sleep, or you have disturbed sleep because of the nightmares, try drinking mugwort tea before you go to bed and let me know how it goes. Right, that's it. I hope I gave you some new tips that you'd never heard before. Let me know if you have any tips that I didn't discuss in this video. You can look at the comment section like it's a forum. You know, feel free to talk to each other and stuff, that's fine. And if any of these tips help you out, be sure to comment that below as well. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to drop it a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Love you, bye!